Welcome to the complete animation of Dusty from Balto 3 Wings of Change. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, a like and a subscribe would be appreciated. Balto 3 Wings of Change is the real sequel to Balto. Balto 2 Wolf Quest was a confused, frankly, I don't even have the words for it. Balto 2 was just confusing and didn't stick the landing in almost any respect. The visuals weren't very great. And it's like everything that Balto 2 wasn't, Balto 3 is. It's like they actually have more competent visuals. Like if you look at Balto 2, you'll see that there's a whole lot of low-resolution textures for the backgrounds. There's a whole lot of low-resolution textures on the bad CGI. And the actual characters, the way they're drawn, like, you can tell that it was early in the days of using computers to make hand-drawn stuff, and the resolution was just low. Balto 3 fixes almost all those problems. The CG that it does use looks a whole lot better. The characters look a whole lot better. I'm so glad that I got a 1080p video source to make this with, because I think that it's kind of interesting. This movie actually has detailed enough textures and things to make it so that an HD source actually works for something. With Balto 2, it does have an HD release, but so many of its textures are so low, you're like, maybe I should have just stuck with DVD or even VHS. But Balto 3 actually looks pretty good. And it's also animated a whole lot more well. The sheer number of intricate character animations is really impressive, especially the dog sled team. So Dusty is one of the dogs that works for the mail delivery service, and she, like most of the scenes that you see her in, she is with the rest of the team, attached to their traces and everything. And it's actually really impressive that a straight-to-video sequel like this has such dynamic camera angles and so many characters running together. It looks fairly decent. Not nearly as good as Balto 1, but Balto 1 was, a full theatrical release. All things considered, Balto 3 is punching above its weight visually. It's like, when I was little, I was obsessed with Balto. I think that almost every kid has one of those movies where they just watch it on repeat and they never get sick of it and they just watch it. Balto was that for me. And so when Balto 2 came out, I also watched a ton of it. And I remember really liking it as a little kid. But we never owned Balto 3. And so the only times I saw it were, there was one time they were playing a bit of it on TV once, and I rented it once, and it wasn't until I was about, probably 17 or something that I actually got the DVD copy of Balto 3. And I never really got into it, and I think a big part of that is Stella. I think that character, even for teenage me, was just cringe and uncomfortable. But I always noticed this Dusty character. She is just another member of the sled team, and she's competent. She is a fast runner. She works hard to do things, and she's not a major character. But the things that she does do don't do anything to, engender any sort of dislike towards her. And I think that characters like that are neat. characters that aren't there to steal the limelight, characters that aren't there to be something that they're not. Like, she is what she is, and she does a pretty good job of it. And I actually really like her design. You see, up until now, in the entire Balto franchise, which had a whole bunch of stuff to do with dog sledding, there were never any female sled dogs. And except the closest we got in Balto 1 was Jenna being hitched up to Rosie's, kid sled. And in Balto 2, they're like, oh yeah, we don't want to do any sled things anymore. We want to do mysticism and bad CGI totem poles and introduce an entire clan of wolves that aren't introduced until, the last third of the movie, and so you never have time to get invested in them. Whereas here in Balto 3, every character is introduced within the first 10 minutes of the movie. And that is the cast. Like, just Balto 3 is such a better movie than Balto 2. Objectively. Like, subjectively, you might prefer what Balto 2 did, but just in terms of, known and tried and true story writing and visuals, Balto 3 is the superior sequel. And Dusty is emblematic of that. Like, she has some bits to shine. She has some bits of really good animation. Like earlier, that scene where she loses her footing and starts to slip off the side of a canyon wall. Like, yeah, that was actually some pretty decent character animation. And here, she's part of the team. And, she was as upset about the prospect of losing her job as everyone else. But it's also neat to see that she was the first of the team, besides Cody, to actually want to do better. And, I'm thinking that I might also want to make a complete animation of Cody so I can discuss his character some more. He is an interesting thing where they took what was shown in Balto 2 and actually made something good out of it. Where, he's one of the dogs that looks a whole lot like his mom, and then he's a main character, and I think they did a pretty good job of it. But yeah, so Balto 3. I do recommend this movie. Thanks for watching.